Darnell Mayberry reports that Patrick Williams' injury may not be as healed as what the Chicago Bulls would like to. How big of a risk are the Bulls taking giving him a full 5-year deal? Me and Pat are going to talk about it, all that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat, the designer, host, and creator of the Windy City Breeze, and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Hayes, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central and Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. As the playoffs wind down, the sports stop sporting like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone all day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Pat, to start off the show today, Patrick Williams, man, Darnell Mayberry came out with an article that his sources seem to indicate that Patrick Williams is not held and ready to go as of yet. Now, there still is some time before training camp, but considering the deal that the Chicago Bulls gave him at 5 years, $18 million per year on top of that, how risky do you think this is? The fact that he already had a weird injury, right? With the can't remember what they called that injury, but it's in the bone marrow of his foot that's causing that issue. How do you feel about it?
Stress reaction in his bone edema.
Yeah, edema, the bone edema. That's what it is.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I don't know if this is a Lonzo Ball type of situation where it's like this guy can't come back from it. So I don't think it's a great risk that the Bulls gave him the 5-year contract. I mean, it's a role player's contract. I'm still not, I'm not upset by the deal. And I think that it fits the type of player that he is right now. If he's not able to be there at the start of the season, the possibility that he may lose his job is there because you probably would see Jalen Smith, I would think, or Matas Buzelis, one or the other, trying to fill in maybe at 4. I would rather have Jalen Smith. I would really rather have Jalen Smith because I don't know how much Matas Buzelis weighs. We've still never clarified this.
Maybe on the Summer League roster, do they come out with a release? Like, what are we doing? We don't know.
225 is very different than 187, bro. I'm just saying.
197. Yeah, it's very different. Very different.
But I mean, even so, right? Let's say realistically, Jalen Smith comes in, he dominates as the starting power forward. It looks good with him next to Vooch, and you see that the team maybe wants to work that in and stick with that. An $18 million contract is a role player in the NBA that could come off of the bench. So I don't think that you've done too much. Even if, the fear is like, well, what if Patrick Williams loses his job? I think that you've given him the perfect contract for the type of player that he is at this moment. And AK's hope is very much like Kobe White did, right? I'm going to pay you this small level deal right here. You outplay it. If you can outplay it, we can come back to the table and maybe talk a little bit later down the line. So I don't think that this is a bad situation for the Chicago Bulls. I don't think that this is because I don't know. I'm not a doctor, right? If you had told me at the beginning that Lonzo Ball would have missed 3 years, I'd have said, I doubt that we'll see Lonzo Ball miss 3 years, especially with how the Bulls have talked and have assessed injuries. But how I feel right now, I don't think it's a big deal, even though I guess AK was very vague on Patrick Williams.
He was. It was very vague, and then turned around and give him a 5-year, $90 million deal. Like
everybody else, he's like, Lonzo Ball, he's playing. Zach LaVine, he's playing. Patrick Williams, we'll see, 5 years, 90.
Yeah. Now, I mean, when it comes down to it, is this, right? Is that Patrick Williams? Now, I do like the fact that his contract is flat. It's $18 million every year. It doesn't have the increases because it's actually a smaller percentage of your cap that way. It's kind of a way of front loading it without front loading it in a way, right? Because the contract amount stays the same, but we know the salary cap goes up each year. So, for example, estimated. This season is not estimated. It's 12.8 million, 12.8% of the cap this first season. By the 5th year of that deal, it'll be less than 9% of the total cap space. So you're actually kind of saving some cap space each year as that goes on. But to get to that, to really speak on the risk, here's what I'll say. For Patrick Williams, a player that has had 2 major injuries that have basically stopped his seasons in his 2nd and 4th year, it is a bit concerning that he has an injury that happened about midway through last season, and that it's still not healed to the point to where it doesn't seem like he's on path to necessarily be cleared by training camp. Now, that's if you take Darnell Mayberry's reporting for at face value. It could be a lot better than that. Maybe they aren't releasing some things, but him saying that according to his sources, he's not going to be ready to go. It's more PTSD for Bulls fans, I think. It's because we've dealt with so many injuries here over the last few years. If we start off this rebuild with another player that has an injury that's stopping their season from starting, and then we're doing this at the beginning of the rebuild, that's just Bulls fans have the right to be frustrated about that.
I'll tell you where it gives me PTSD at is the player that I really see Patrick Williams being very similar to. And I know that a lot of people may not like this because I would even say that player reached higher heights than P. Will did. Well, he's an NBA champion, so definitely. But I've always said Patrick Williams reminds me of Otto Porter Jr. And that's really where the PTSD comes in for me, because it's like Otto Porter was one of those players where it always felt like if he could just stay on the court and be aggressive, he could be an elite level player in this league. He was phenomenal defensively. He could knock down the three ball, right? He had that one season.
Phenomenal defense. We're giving Otto Porter at one point was phenomenal defensively.
I mean,
that's
when he
too
was
strong of word in there.
When he was in Washington, yeah, for sure.
You would think he was phenomenal defensively.
That I guess his version of a breakout. That breakout season that he had. Where he was the main defender and he was guarding everybody. Yeah, no, he was a really good defender that year.
In Washington?
In Washington, yeah. It was the only year they made the playoffs, and he was their only real defense. It was Bradley Beal, John Wall, and him.
Okay.
But I think here's my thing, right? But then, right, you get the PTSD because when he was with the Bulls, we never really saw that. We saw a guy who, what was it, 14 games? He had a hot 14. I mean, like it was
spread out over 2 seasons, and it wasn't even all in the same season.
You know what I'm saying? No, it was like when he got here, how many games wasn't it like 14 games?
Yeah. He did start off really. Yeah, I think that first 14 was pretty damn good.
And then like we never saw it again, and that's kind of where my PTSD kind of comes in, where I look at it, I'm just like,
15 games after we traded for him in the 2018-19 season, 17 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, and 2.7 assists per game, or 48% shooting and 48% shooting as well from three. He shot the ball 48% from three first.
Was hooping.
That's crazy.
And then we never saw it again.
And then we never saw it again. He played a total of 14 games that next season for us, and then 25 before we traded him.
And I think that's the fear. And that's to me where some of the PTSD may come in for Bulls fans, and I understand it because we've seen this before. We've seen the player that has reached those heights that we think are coming, where it's like he's at least a 3-and-D player, and it falls off.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're coming at, but I think the thing with that, I look at it differently with the Otto Porter. Otto Porter is, I get where you're coming at with that comp, but Otto Porter was aggressive when he was healthy. The problem with Patrick Williams is that Patrick Williams is healthy, and we're still like, hey, why are you so passive, my boy? Like,
no, that was the knock on him leaving Washington. That's why they were willing to trade him, because
true.
It was like, bro, like, listen, like John Wall literally was like, if he is aggressive,
shot more.
There's nobody that could stop him in the league.
Yeah.
Like he literally was like, no, just like be aggressive. And it was always the conversation around him. We saw him be aggressive for 15 games and he balled and it killed him. At least
he was never the same. He was never the same.
Championship, right?
Again, till he got to Golden State. Yep. Going to won the championship in 2021-22 with the Golden State Warriors. He's playing a really good role player role there. Oh, yeah, he played last season in Toronto.
That's right. Yeah. Shout out Otto Porter, man. Otto Porter, and it was crazy too because I remember, what was that, 21? You said they won the championship. I remember just being like, "Where the fuck was this? Where was this on the?"
But at that point, he fully embraced being a role player. At that point, they had one of the most balanced benches as well, where he just understood. Let me just go out here. I got to hit a couple of shots and play some tough defense. That was it.
I ain't even talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that this man played 63 games. I was like, where was this?
Oh, yeah. It's different playing 63 games, though, when you're averaging like what? Oh, he still was going over 20 minutes per game.
You know what I mean? He was balling, bro. He was playing some minutes, bro. Like,
that's crazy.
Like, where the heck was this at? Well, he did play 15 games last season. Good to see he got back to form. Dang.
Yep, at 11 minutes.
This man has played 21. We went down an Otto Porter tangent. We had PTSD mode on this channel. This man has played 23 games in 2 seasons.
Yeah. Chicago Auto Polar is back, bro. Like, it is what it is, man. Everything comes back around, bro. But to end this back on Patrick Williams is that, yes, it's a bit concerning to hear that this injury is not healed up yet, that there seems to be some doubt if it will be by training camp. But let's keep it in prayer. We'll see what happens with Patrick Williams. But overall,
keep it in prayer.
Let's keep it in prayer, bro. That's what we got to do with a lot of this, man. Keep it in prayer.
It's above
if you are under the sound of my voice, let's go ahead and bow your heads. Let's give a prayer out to Patrick Williams and his bone edema. Hey, let's hope that it heals.
That's where the Bulls at right now. You gotta ask God.
And he ain't listening.
Oh, he ain't listening. Hey, God, if you up there, man, just you saw how Cooper Flag was cooking Team USA, man. If you could just find it in your power, somehow get the Bulls they top 10 pick back. If you could just.
Should trading Nikola Vucevic be a priority for the Chicago Bulls? Me and Pat are going to discuss that coming up next. But before we get into that, we got to get into a message from one of our sponsors, and that is BetterHelp.
That was so funny.
Comparison is the thief of joy, and it's easy to envy others people's lives. It may look like they have it all together on their Instagram, but in reality, they probably don't. Therapy can help you focus on what you want instead of what others have, so you can start living your best life. If you've been thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out the brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapist at any time for no additional charge. You know, me and Pat are big advocates of mental health here at Chicago, at Locked On Bulls. I'm going to say Chicago Bulls Central. We appreciate you guys so much, man. Stop comparing and start focusing with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA. All right, Pat. Nikola Vucevic, brother. So a lot of the focus has been around trading Zach LaVine naturally, right? Because that is kind of the big deal. We've heard that the Bulls have been trying to find a trade partner for Zach LaVine since like November of last year. And here we sit in July now.
But one of the questions you got for this guy, like, how much hate does the league have for this guy?
Bro, I don't know, man. At this point, like, we got to find out what Zach LaVine did. What did he do?
Bro, he had to do something.
He had to do something. But outside of that, we heard earlier in the offseason that the Bulls were exploring Nikola Vucevic trades. I want to throw this one to you, Pat. How much of a priority do you think it should be for the Bulls to move on from Nikola Vucevic, regardless of what happens with Zach LaVine? How you feeling?
I think it depends on the players that could be out there. The one team that I saw that may have been interested in Vooch, that I would say you move him before the season, you shift all your focus to that. I said shift. You shift all your focus to that, is the New Orleans Pelicans, because there was conversation around them possibly trying to find a way to get out of the Brandon Ingram deal because they don't want to re-sign him. He don't want to be there. They expect to lose him for nothing. Would they be interested in somebody picks and something with Vooch to try and make a move there? Because that's a move that could possibly help your team long term. You bring Brandon Ingram here, right? The outlook of where this Bulls team is going to finish next season changes in your mind completely as soon as that happens. But again, I don't know if AK is the kind of negotiator to get a Brandon Ingram done for Nikola Vucevic. But at the end of the day, outside of that, right, like, there's almost a guarantee that some team at the trade deadline, because how many years have we seen this in a row, is going to be like, you know what this team really needs? More of a post presence and rebounding. So you're going to get more for Vooch no matter what at the deadline. So I don't know if I would say trading Vooch is a must unless you feel like there's never going to be a better deal on the table. I do feel like Vooch is still going to come out there. He's still going to be able to give you a double-double this season. I guess you're taking a chance on, right, him showing that maybe the fall off is more precipitous this year and you get even less value back for him. But unless you feel like you're getting back major pieces to improve your team long term, I don't think that you need to be pushing all chips in on Vooch right now. That doesn't mean he should finish the season with the team, but I just think that the type of player that Vooch has been over his career, teams always need that. The Lakers will be calling, right? Like teams need that literally every single season, and it's what they're usually looking for to acquire at the deadline.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, true. I mean, you do run the risk maybe of an injury or something happening, but I think that ultimately, Vooch doesn't hurt. To me, he's not a player that hurts the growth of your young players on this team if you do want to go younger, right? Like you to have a center down there that you know is going to go out there and get you 18 and 10, 18 and 11, can also pass. Now that DeMar's not here, can get to his natural spots a little bit easier. So because of those things, I don't see Vooch as just this player that you just have to move. He doesn't hurt anything. You got Jalen Smith there. Jalen Smith's going to get minutes regardless. Adama Snuggles a two-way contract. So like, it's not like you have a player that's in the wings that's a starting caliber center we think could be a starting caliber center. That means that you just got to necessarily create more opportunity from them for Vooch. He also isn't somebody that is taking away shots from some of your other players. So I'm not too worried about Vooch being here. And I think you're right to say, just let it. I mean, if you get offered a great deal now, cool, right? If that happens, cool. If you don't, wait to the trade deadline. Something's going to be there to explore. Now, yeah, I love that you mentioned Brandon Ingram. Here's the thing, though, is that I don't know. The Bulls getting Brandon Ingram back in the trade to me would kind of signify that puts you at risk again of not keeping that top 10 pick. If they care about that, maybe they don't, even though he is an expiring contract, but maybe you can work it out for a 3-team trade. So,
I mean, I think my thing is, right, like the thing with Brandon Ingram is it signals that you want to go out there and get a player that's maybe a little bit more. They could be a little bit more consistent and help you to keep competing. Brandon Ingram as a role player is fine. I don't think that Brandon Ingram comes in, he's a number one. I don't think he's a superstar or anything. I think the days of comparing Brandon Ingram to KD have long passed. But
was that the comp for Brandon Ingram?
Oh yeah,
I'm so removed from that, bro. I don't
absolutely, bro. Brandon Ingram, how tall is he? 6'8", 6'9", something like that. And they were like, well, maybe that. Well, at the time, I think they thought he could still grow, but he had that lanky, skinny build, and he was able to shoot over everybody. And yeah, the comp was definitely KD for BI, and it has not become that. I'll tell you that right now. But it doesn't mean that he's not a good scorer. And I think the thing is, right, like the biggest concern with BI is the injuries, but you would have a young player next to Kobe White who can still, maybe I shouldn't say young. How old is Brandon? Okay, still young, 26. All right. Yeah. You'd have a young player next to Kobe White who can go out and get a bucket. And I think that would be my only reasoning for it. And in worst case scenario, you moved on from a longer term contract to bring in Brandon Ingram, who you're like, that's okay, you can leave now. Right? Like it's not, it doesn't put you in a bad spot.
True, that would take some savviness from AK that we haven't really seen consistently from him.
That's the real thing about
it. So, because and Brandon Ingram, if we're looking realistically, like he's not only a player that, like I said, I do worry about how much bringing Brandon Ingram to this team raises his ceiling if they're trying to keep on to the top 10 pick. But outside of that, though, the positives is he is expiring, and again, he could be another player that because of he's younger, you can get maybe another sign and trade, get a couple of more seconds in here. Like at this point, acquisition mode. So, by the way, we do have the details on the Sacramento Kings picks as well. Looks like the pick is the second round pick is in 2025, and the second one's in 2029. So,
good to know. Definitely. I mean, there was some nice second rounders that came out that I thought can make an impact on the team this season. So I would think even more next season in a draft. Yeah, much deeper draft. Let me ask you this before we get up out of this segment. Because I think that this is one thing that we've just, as Bulls fans, we're so done with this unit. We've just kind of overlooked this. But Nikola Vucevic has been an 18 and 11 kind of player while literally being the third option on a team. Last year, maybe he was last year he was still a third option behind Kobe White and DeMar. Do we see an increase in production from Nikola Vucevic that maybe helps this team out a little bit more because you have to build around him more because he's one of your main pieces that is still going to be on this team?
That's definitely a possibility for that. I do think that Nikola Vucevic's output can go up considerably because DeMar, like I said, a lot, and this isn't to throw Vooch Bell for overall. This 3-point shooting, he's one of the worst.
3-point shooting is horrible.
Yeah, but I do think that this could put him in a situation where he goes more back naturally to where his game goes, and Yeah. So
I'd be interested to see if Vooch, because the one thing I always remember about Vooch is the one year that Orlando got to the playoffs with him, and it was like, it's him. Like I was having this debate with Kid the other day. I was like, no, there was no question about it. You knew who got them there. It was him.
It was him.
Maybe getting Vooch in a more involved role could improve his game. Although,
and I do think Giddey's going to be good for Vooch as well.
Yeah, but at 33 years old, that's the tough part. It's like, man, if we had done this at 31, this would have been phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, we tried to. Lonzo Ball had to go out and get dead people's knees put in his knees. I mean, that's what happened.
I'm telling you, man, just a room of cadavers. You keep knees on hand because it's dangerous out here. Well, now we got bone edema problems. Where'd that even come from?
We have to get foot cartilage transplants. Like, that's where we're at next.
Hey, just the whole foot. Just offer the entire
the foot.
Just take the foot. Before we get into this final segment where we got to talk about what we expect to see or what we're hoping to see from Matas Buzelis in Summer League, we do got to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel. If you're a fan, you're a fan, you're a fan, just like me, because I love sports. I love them so much. I never want to see them stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer games and the sports aren't sportsing like I want them to. Sportsing a word? Can we throw sportsing out there?
No, yeah, it's now a word.
It's now a word. Okay, all right. It's now a word. Are you okay? Are you still laughing about the fan thing? that would throw you. Hey, if you're a fan, you're a fan. You're a fan. FanDuel lets me keep on sportsing and keeps the sports going wherever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up any bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball.
That's some of your best work, Pat. That's some of your best work, bro. I got to give you credit for that. That's some of your best work.
I feel like I kind of dissed myself though, because I was like, if you're a fan just like I am, like,
yeah, I mean, you did a little bit. You did a little bit. I mean, what are you trying to tell us there, Pat? What are you trying to tell us?
Hey, not a 69 guy, but I have been told by many that I could be a freak.
Oh my God, that is hilarious.
Hey, when did freaky start being a bad thing? You gotta in the context of that song. It's
in the context of that song.
The freaky in general is not a bad thing. It's okay to be a fan as long as you're not fanning like Drake over there.
That is hilarious. I don't even know how to respond to this. What topic are we talking about? Matas Buzelis in Summer League. Summer League is right around the corner. We've gotten some clips already. Actually, Julian Phillips yammed on Matas Buzelis. I don't know if you saw that. He completely. Hey, Buzelis, make a business decision, man. Get out the way. It's Summer League, bro.
I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I got nervous. I was like, oh no, did we get Marko Simonovic again, bro? Hey, bro. I was like, he just got here. He's getting dunked on already, bro.
That's crazy. See, the difference is that would have been a series of like literally been 5 dunks in a row where everybody just is dunking on Marko Simonovic. But as far as Matas Buzelis in Summer League, bro, what's some of the things you want to see from him in Summer League?
You know what I want to see? I want to see what we saw from Julian Phillips last season. Confidence in the shot, because he said, I just didn't shoot it well. It's not that I can't shoot. So confidence in the shot, an ability to knock down the shot, because to me with him, yes, I think that he can shoot. I think that there is some ability there, but everybody is kind of trying to do the Julian Phillips with this, where, hey, look at his high school years. He could shoot. No, the fluke is the senior year of high school where he was knocking down the 3-ball at the rate that he was knocking down the 3-ball at. Outside of that, Matas Buzelis did not shoot the 3-ball well and has not shot the 3-ball well over the last 5 years. So, like, that is outside of that one senior year. What we saw last year was actually somewhat normal. Now, on top of that, be aggressive going to the rim. Don't feel like you have to be a 3-point shooter to make it in this league. How many players have we watched that just basically destroy their career? Play your game, figure your game out. I really, what would be more impactful to me is to see this guy running the floor, being involved defensively, blocking shots, and finishing at the rim. than anything seeing him, take 7 threes and knock down one of them. Like, I'm fine with you being confident, but you got to be able to make it as well. So that's really what I'm looking to see from him. And I think that if we can see those things and you build that confidence up early, I think that can carry over into a season where, whether he likes it or not, I think he's going to get a lot of playing time this year.
Oh, I mean, it's not that I think he's going to like it. But yeah, I think that Bucelis is going to get a lot of playing time. And the thing that I want to see is the well-rounded game, because this is where Bucelis can show that, because he's not going to do a lot of the ball handling right away for the Chicago Bulls his rookie year. He's probably going to be more of a moving without the ball, which is something that he does great. Like, I don't know if you watched a lot of Bucelis' tape, but like the way that he moves without the ball is something that we've been needing for this team for a while, right? So bringing that is going to be good. His decision making in on fast breaks and transitions, both with the ball, without the ball, are all really good. And listen, I tell you what, I wouldn't call him a rim protector, which may sound weird to somebody who averaged over 2 blocks per game in the G League, but because it's more of like that weak. He just understands how to use his length. But a lot of those blocks, though, is because quicker players get by him, and he's just like, oh, bet, but I have this 6'11" wingspan. Let me take this off you real quick.
But sometimes
which I'm not mad at.
Yeah, that's sometimes that's what you got to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't expect him to be a phenomenal one-on-one defender. I think that he's a guy that could be really solid in team defense.
Yeah,
but knowing when to take off, right? Like, listen, you nobody's gonna sit here and tell you James Harden is a phenomenal defender, but he led the NBA in steals one season.
Yeah, that's a fact.
Actually, multiple seasons.
And to me, the thing that comes down to Bucelis overall that is like, if that 3-point shot, to your point, if it doesn't ever round out, or if he just ends up being let's say a 34% 3-point shooter with 3 per game, where it's like not high volume, but a decent enough percentage, how much of the other things of his game are going to actually translate? And when you look at that, if he has enough things that he does well enough that if they do translate, even if he never becomes a knockdown 3-point shooter, you still see him being effective at the NBA level. But so that's what I want to see there. Like, I love that you brought up Julian Phillips, because Julian last year in Summer League, in G League, you could just tell that he was above that level of competition.
Yeah.
That's similar to what I want to see this year.
And I think that's the thing, right? Just show me Khalil Ware. And I don't need to see it the first game. I'm just talking about by the end of Summer League, right? Just show me that, like, you're too good to be down there. We saw it from Adama in Summer League last year. We saw it from him in the G League. We saw it from Julian in Summer League last year. We saw it from him in the G League. Like, just show me it's like, you know what? There may be something there. There may be something where you're definitely an NBA player. That doesn't mean you're a superstar. I don't think that anybody out of this draft is going to be a superstar. I've said that. I think Zachary Richard's a phenomenal role player. I think Alex Sarr is going to be a solid role player. I think that the superstars are coming out next year, and you're just hoping that these get you drafted your number 2s before you got your number 1s. So we'll see what it ends up being, my guy. But I'm excited for Summer League. I'm excited to be able to talk about something legitimate.
Hey, you know somebody who's looked terrible in Summer League, bro?
Bronny James.
Well, yeah, I mean, he looks terrible in life. Kyle Filipowski has looked like absolute dog water.
I haven't seen him in Summer League. Has he been getting heavy runs?
20 minutes today, for example, 4 points, going 2 of 5, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and he got scored on like he was Marko Simonovic Jr.
No,
that's what I'll say. Like, literally, bro. Like, the offensive numbers don't look bad when you look at him in the vacuum. But outside of that vacuum, bro, when you watch this game, like, it was like watching Marko Simonovic, bro.
It was that bad. It was that bad.
And then in his first Summer League game, he went 0 for 4 from the field.
That's tough, dog. Hey, figure it out, dog. Everybody don't cook in Summer League. Yeah, you know what I mean, you gotta.
I mean, that's true too. Like, I want even with, please, before we go, I gotta give this message. This is now my TED Talk. Thank you for attending my PSA. Bulls fans,
let me let you have that right there. You go.
If Matas Bucelis does not look like the next coming of Jesus in Summer League, stop with the think pieces. Don't type that tweet. Don't type that comment. Stop it. Stop it. And if he looks great in Summer League, do not start that he's the next coming of Michael Jordan either. Shut up. Everybody, I'm telling you right now, stop with the deep thoughts on Summer League basketball. It's like we did not see Denzel Valentine ball. Shut up. Just stop it right away. Now, shut up. Stop. No, this is me smacking your hand. Stop it. Stop. I'm done.
You know it's coming. Hey, I did just want to throw this out there though. You know who's actually been cooking in summer league?
Zach Edey's been absolutely cooking in summer league.
Legs, bro.
He dunked on Walker Kessler, bro. And I literally had to be like, all right, okay.
Hey, bro, we might have been wrong on Zach.
We might have been wrong on Zach Edey.
Right, I'm looking at.
But like I said, no deep thoughts on it yet. Let's see what he does in the NBA before listen. He balled out so good that they didn't even play him today. They just said, listen, don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about the rest of summer league.
We will never hear the end of it from Joel if Zach Edey is good.
Oh no, never
hear the end.
It's gonna be like Stacey with Franz Wagner. How Stacey King's in love with Franz Wagner every time we play him. It's gonna be the same thing.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. Hey, man, we appreciate y'all tuning in, showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do, man. Follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. And I'm not wishing ill will on Zach Edey, but I do not want to hear Joel's mouth. So, hey, you calm down, Zach Edey.
You guys can follow me at CEO Hayes, man. We appreciate you guys. You can check out Locked On Bulls daily on the Locked On Podcast Network. We're also available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube and the Odyssey app and Amazon Fire TV. For Pat the Designer, this has been Locked On Bulls. We out here. Peace, y'all.
Peace. Yeah, Zach Edey balling immediately and running the floor well.
All right, good shit, my boy.